Okay, so let me ask you something real quick. What happens when you cut the head off a snake? It dies, right? That's how it works. Cut the head off, the whole thing goes down. That's what everybody assumed would happen to Iran. Kill their generals, bomb their bases, knock out their leaders one by one, and eventually, Iran falls apart. Game over. But here's the thing, nobody is talking about, and I mean nobody. Iran doesn't fight like a snake. Iran fights like a spider, and you do not want to mess with a spider's web. Let me break this down because this is wild. Right now, in 2026, Iran's supreme leader is dead. Their army chief of staff is dead. Their defense minister is dead. Top IRGC commanders gone. Israel used 200 fighter jets and dropped over 1,200 bombs in 24 hours on Tehran alone. The US has hit their nuclear sites. Their navy is being sunk. Trump got on camera and said, "Most of Iran's senior leadership is gone. By every normal rule of war, Iran should be finished. But they're not. They're still in the game." And the reason why is one of the craziest military strategies on the entire planet. See, most countries fight with an army, soldiers, tanks, jets, a chain of command. You take out the top, the whole army freezes up. Standard. Iran figured out something different about 40 years ago. Why build one army when you can build 8? Here's where it gets crazy. Back in 1979, Iran had a revolution. The Ayatollahs took over. And they realized something real fast. The US, Israel, Saudi Arabia, everybody wanted them gone. So they couldn't fight everybody head on. They'd lose. So they made a choice that changed the entire Middle East forever. They started funding, training, and arming other people's armies. Not Iranian soldiers, other people, in other countries, with their own flags, their own names, their own reasons to fight. Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, the Houthis in Yemen, multiple militias in Iraq and Syria. They call it the Axis of Resistance, a network of groups spread across 5 countries, all connected to Iran, all sharing the same enemies. And here's the genius part that'll low-key blow your mind. Iran doesn't have to give the orders. These groups already want to fight. Iran just gives them the weapons and the money. Then they let them loose. And if something goes wrong, Iran shrugs and says, "That wasn't us. We don't control them." Plausible deniability. That's the technical term for it. Translation? You can't prove we did it. Now wait. It gets more wild. February 28th, 2026. Israel drops 1,200 bombs on Tehran in a single day, the largest combat sortie in Israeli history. Khamenei is dead. His daughter, his son-in-law, his grandchild, all killed in the same strike. The whole world goes insane, so Iran's proxies fall apart, right? Wrong. 2 days later, Hezbollah launched missiles at northern Israel. Iraqi militias hit US bases in Baghdad and Erbil with drones. The Houthis announced they were resuming attacks on Red Sea shipping. The head was gone. The body kept swinging. And that's the point. These groups are like loaded guns sitting on a table. Iran didn't have to pull the trigger anymore because after 40 years, those guns already knew which direction to point. That's not an accident. That is a plan 40 years in the making. But okay, here's the plot twist. And I'm not going to skip this part because this is where the story gets complicated. Iran fired back. Immediately. Within hours of the strike, a massive wave of missiles and drones launched at US military bases across the entire Middle East. Bahrain, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. The UAE intercepted over 100 ballistic missiles and nearly 200 drones in one day. Then Iran shut down the Strait of Hormuz, the channel that 20% of the world's oil flows through. Then they declared 40 days of mourning. And while all of that was happening, the IRGC put out a statement. It said, "The armed forces of Iran will not allow the air raid sirens to stop. We will continue delivering strikes as a very hard step of revenge. Not we surrender. Not we need help. We will not stop." But here's why you can't count Iran out yet. Because 8 days after they killed the supreme leader, Iran had a new one. Mojtaba Khamenei, the dead man's own son, was elected supreme leader on March 8, 2026. Israel had literally warned they would target whoever took the job. They said it publicly. And Iran still did it anyway. Think about that. They just watched their leader get blown up, and they immediately put his son in the chair. The spider's web got torn up. But the spider is already spinning new threads, with the dead spider's name. And this is the part that should make you think differently about everything you see on the news. Everyone talks about Iran's nuclear program like that is the biggest threat. But the nuclear program is the thing you can see, the thing you can bomb, the thing that has an address. The proxy network? That has no address. You can kill the supreme leader, but you can't kill an idea that 40 years of people have already bought into. You can destroy a weapons depot, but you can't untrain 200,000 Iraqi militia fighters who are still sitting there right now waiting. You can sink 20 to 30 Iranian ships, and the Houthis in Yemen are still sitting with their finger on the trigger, telling the world, we are fully prepared. Our fingers are on the trigger at any moment. See, most people think about war like it's a video game. You defeat the boss, the game ends, credits roll. Iran plays it like chess, except the pieces can think for themselves. And when you remove a piece from the board, sometimes it just moves to a different square. So the next time you hear, Iran has been destroyed, or the axis of resistance is done, remember the spider web. Remember that the whole strategy was built specifically to survive losing. 40 years ago, Iran looked at the whole world aligned against them and said, we can't fight them all at once. But what if we didn't have to? What if we built something that's everywhere? Something with no single head to cut off? Something that, even when it gets torn apart, is already rebuilding in the places nobody is looking? That question, and Iran's answer to it, changed the entire Middle East. And what comes next? That story is still being written right now.